Valentine's Day, also known as Saint Valentine's Day or the Feast of Saint Valentine, is a holiday celebrating love, adoration, and affection every year on the date of February 14th. People have differing views when it comes to the holiday, some viewing it as a great way to show a little extra fondness of another individual, and some viewing it as a consumer holiday that has us feeling like we have to spend hundreds on roses, cards, and chocolates. No matter what light you view the holiday in, everyone can agree that this holiday has a bit of a dark origin if you've ever taken the time to look into it. Also, some pretty horrific crimes have occurred on this day. For instance, the Valentine's Day Massacre, where 7 members and associates of Chicago's North Side Gang were all lined up against a wall and shot. Quite a few gruesome crimes happened on this day, and today, on the very holiday of Valentine's Day, we discuss another one. This is the case of Valentine Jane Doe. The Keys, a string of tropical islands stretching about 120 miles off the southern tip of the state of Florida, between the Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico. It's a world-famous vacation spot, an absolute paradise in most people's minds. But just like any place in the world, it's had its fair share of tragedy as well. On Friday, February 15th of 1991, at around 8:15 in the morning, windsurfers located the body of a young woman in a very wooded area right off of US 1, which is a highway that connects Miami to the Keys and is known as the Overseas Highway. This area is near the shoreline and was very popular with windsurfers and campers, so it isn't surprising that windsurfers would be the first ones to find her remains. This young woman was nude, and she was face down in the water. There were very distinct marks in the dirt near her that showed her body must have been dragged. The drag marks led investigators to the young woman's clothing. They found a Forenza brand cardigan sweater with wide horizontal stripes and silver buttons, denim shorts, and black ankle-high moccasins with red stitching and leather fringe. She had been sexually assaulted, beaten, and her cause of death was strangulation. The strangulation was actually done by her bikini top. Based on the markings on her body, it was easy to see that she did put up a fight and she did try to fight off her attacker. Investigators immediately did an autopsy on the unknown girl and determined that she had been killed the day before she was found, which was Valentine's Day, and for that reason, she was named Valentine Jane Doe. She was estimated to be between 16 to 25 years of age. She stood at about 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighed about 130 pounds. She had brown hair and brown eyes. She had stretch marks on her abdomen that possibly indicated a previous pregnancy, but I could not find any further information on that. From my research, it doesn't seem like they considered weight loss as a possible explanation. She also suffered from pelvic inflammatory disease and had a large cyst on her right ovary, which would have most likely caused her a great deal of pain. She likely sought medical attention for this condition of hers. Her teeth were straight and well cared for. She did have one filling present though, and at around age 10, she must have had 2 top teeth extracted. When it comes to a Doe, there are a few things they may have that set them apart from other individuals and give authorities hope they may be able to identify them sooner than later. One main thing is tattoos. Distinct markings on the body that someone out there may recognize because they did them on the victim, the tattoo artist themselves, or they know the person who had these tattoos. This Jane Doe had 2 tattoos, and these tattoos were definitely not professionally done. One was a cross with 4 radiating lines from it, and it was on her left hand. The other was ironically the word love and a heart on her upper left shoulder. She also had her ears pierced, and they each had been pierced 4 times. Her left ear contained 2 non-matching earrings, and her right ear contained 4 non-matching earrings. Other than her tattoos, there were a few other things about her that stuck out to authorities as being a little bit different. For one, her clothing. The clothes near her body were obviously the ones that she was wearing before she was killed. And this clothing that she had been wearing was not clothing that was popular in the area of the Keys. Yes, it may have been a little colder outside during the month of February, but this was Florida, and she was wearing a sweater and moccasins. You could say, well, maybe she wanted to cover up a little bit more. She was also wearing shorts, but this Jane Doe definitely was not from the area, and the main reason authorities figured that was because she had absolutely no tan lines. She couldn't have been from Florida. I used to live in Florida. I've been to the Keys once before, and I can say that if you are a regular of Florida, you are most likely going to have tan lines. I used to go outside for like 10, 20 minutes and you would be able to see my straps from my tank top. So her not having tan lines, it sounds like a little thing, but it is something that definitely stood out to authorities. According to witness reports, the Jane Doe was last seen hitchhiking out of Key West, heading north on US 1 on Valentine's Day. Witnesses claim to have spotted her at mile marker 10 on Big Coppet Key, again at mile marker 15, and then at mile marker 17 at around 6:30 p.m. That was the last time she was seen. Her body was found about 20 miles from this location where she was last spotted alive. So many leads were followed through the years, about 600 of them, and detectives had over 4,000 pages of documentation on this case. Valentine Jane Doe's case was featured on a few television programs, even including Unsolved Mysteries. But like so many other cases, it would take time and more advancements in technology to be able to finally solve her case. The case remained unsolved until Detective Vince Weiner of the department's Major Crimes Unit teamed with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to use new DNA technology. Valentine Jane Doe was finally identified in June of 2020 because of DNA testing. DNA testing was able to give everyone the answers that they longed for over 29 years. Valentine Jane Doe was 18-year-old Wanda Deann Kirkum of Hornell, New York, an area over 1,400 miles north of the area she was found in. We do not know the full story, but we do know that Wanda was never reported missing and both of her parents are deceased in today's time, so asking them why is out of the question. Wanda had been sexually assaulted, and because of that, they were able to get DNA from her clothing so many years later. The man responsible for sexually assaulting her, beating her, and ending her life is believed to be a man named Robert Lynn Bradley. Unfortunately, justice will never be fully served because he died a year after Wanda's murder. In April of 1992, Robert himself was murdered at the age of 31. He had been shot in the head and found in a ditch in Tarrant County, Texas. He had been living in Miami, Florida at the time of Wanda's murder, though.
The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says that the previously unknown young woman discovered on February 15, 1991 in a wooded area off US 1 near mile marker 35 has now been identified as Wanda Deann Kirkum, who was 18 and lived in Hornell, New York. Her killer has been identified as Robert Lynn Bradley, who was killed in a homicide in Texas in April 1992 at age 31.
It took nearly 3 decades to finally solve this Valentine's Day mystery, and from my research, the main person who really tried to find Wanda was her cousin Brenda. In today's time, Brenda Chartraw has done interviews and spoke publicly about her cousin's case. Brenda claims that she and Wanda were very close growing up in New York and that she always knew Wanda had run away, and that she had run away on purpose around the time that Wanda's mother became ill. She said that no one suspected that anything bad had happened to Wanda. They just figured she wanted to leave her past life behind and that if she wanted to reach out to them, that she would. When I first read that Wanda was never reported missing, this did not sit well with me, but the more that I read, which is not a lot, it is easy to tell that her family basically figured that she didn't want to be found, and that was that. If they did report her missing, if she was found and brought home, she was just going to leave again anyway. She was 18 years old. This was her basically just leaving home and also just not really telling anybody where she went. Anybody in her family thought that she had been abducted or was being held up somewhere, being held hostage, that she was being hurt. They just knew that she had left her hometown and she was out there living a life, hopefully, that she wanted. Nobody suspected that her life had ended in such a horrible way. I knew that I wanted to cover a Valentine's Day case for Valentine's Day this year, and I was going over cases that have occurred on Valentine's Day in the past. There were a few that I was looking at, and the reason that I chose this case, even though it is a smaller video, there's not a lot of information about it, is because it is a case that needs people's help. Wanda's cousin has actually started a fundraiser to help raise money so she can have Wanda's remains moved to an area closer by her hometown in New York, and so she can give her a proper burial, something that Wanda truly deserves after so long. Brenda is not going to give up until she's able to bring her cousin's remains back, have a proper funeral, and give her a nice headstone. She is going to have her buried in a newer cemetery named St. Cecilia Cemetery in Oakfield, New York. Now, there's not a lot of Wanda's family still left, and there's not a lot of people in the area to donate. It's a smaller town. So Brenda has started this fundraiser and is reaching out to the public for help. I will be linking the fundraiser down below for anyone who wants to donate. I have donated myself, and honestly, I'm going to be donating a little bit each month until the fundraiser is finished and all the money has been raised. There is a $6,500 goal, and they have over $5,000 left of that $6,500. But that is as of right now. I hope with me doing this video and spreading the word about this case, I hope that maybe more people, especially my little family here on YouTube, we can help Brenda reach her goal even faster. I know that times are tough and a lot of people are struggling, a lot of people are out of work, but if you can give anything, definitely consider it, because it's to a great true crime cause, and even $5, $10, those smaller amounts of donations definitely add up over time. Valentine Jane Doe has been identified, her killer has been identified. The last and final step to just wrap up everything is to give her a proper burial, and I hope that can be done very soon. Thank you all for taking a little bit of time out of your day to listen to this Valentine's Day case. I hope everybody who is celebrating this holiday has an amazing holiday, a safe one like always, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.